Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. In this video, we are going to take a look at the domain problem we are trying to refactor. We are going to explain a little bit of the domain problem. So once we do the refactoring, we can refactor it with ease. Like it is really critical to understand on what we are operating. So here is the thing we are going to refactor. We are going to refactor a class responsible for prayer times. This is the website to understand and to get the code. Right? But I'm going to give you some small explanation. As Muslims, we need to pray 5 times per day. Like this is mandatory, right? But at which time we need to pray? Like we have 5 different times. And it is denoted in the scriptures, in the Sunnah, on when exactly we should pray. Like previously, they didn't have watches, right? So the way to do that is related to the sun. Like for example, when the sun starts to rise, like it's not full rise, like but we see its light, it's the time for the dawn. We call it Fajr prayer. Then for example, like usually the sun will go in the middle of the sky, it will stay there up to 10 minutes and then it will decline. At the moment of declining, we call it Zawal or Dhuhr, and this is the second time, and so on for 5 different times. For example, for the third prayer, it is for the shadow of the object. Let's take an object and its shadow, it's double the length of that object. Here we understand that this is the third time of the prayer, and so on. There is also the sunrise and also the Isha prayer. Like this is kind of 5 prayers. You don't have to understand all of this, but at least you need to get knowledge about what you are trying to refactor in this code. So here you will see the domain problem, how to calculate the prayer times. Now, as you can see, that was previously. Now with the advance of technologies and astronomy, right, we can calculate exactly at which time in my position, for example, using my latitude and longitude, for example, I can calculate exactly when the sun will be up in the sky, when the dawn starts, when the sunrise, when the sunset, and several stuff. We can calculate all of this mathematically. So this is the beauty of science, of course. So here you have prayer time of the code. Here you can go here and then you are going to see many things. Here is the code for the JavaScript, if you want to apply this into JavaScript. And here is for Python, PHP, C++, Objective-C, C#, and also Java. Like this is a good thing. We are going to take the Java code, right? This is the code. Just take it, just copy everything and put it into a simple IntelliJ project, or for example, Eclipse. If you are using Eclipse, it doesn't matter, just an IDE so we can copy this code. Like this is a lot of code. This is more than 1,000 lines of code. There is a lot of duplication in this code. Like you can start by analyzing it. And there is many things that myself, I don't understand. Like I understand there is 5 times, but the way to do it, it's different. For example, there is this magic numbers here. We're going to see how we can do some refactoring in order to make this code a little bit understandable by future developers. Like you need to understand this. This code is already working and it is working fine. There is no reason to refactor it. Like you need to understand that. There is no reason to refactor it, but you are taking this as an exercise. If this was in production, for example, and let's say that we don't need to add any feature, like there is no reason to refactor it. But once we start adding features to this prayer time, for example, and then we need to take the time in order to make it good so we can add feature, remove features easily. So this is the code, you can just copy it, and here you can go back and here you can see how to calculate the prayer times. Like as I told you, there is 5 prayer times. Here you are going to see 7. This one and this one are not actually prayer times. It is a helper times that the Muslims use also to do other stuff. For example, the sunrise, there is Sunnah, we can do like pray extra things. But if you want to understand, for example, when the sky begins to lighten, this is the dawn, for example. The Asr, as I told you, the time when the length of any object reaches the factor, usually 1 or 2. Like here, you are going to see an interesting thing because here there is 2 schools of thoughts. Some people think it is just the length of the object. Some people, other people, like other school of thought, think it is 2. So we are going to see how this is implemented in the code, right? Here is the sunset, the Maghrib time, the Isha time, and the midnight. I don't know, we are not using this code. You won't see this one. So here is the astronomical measures. It will tell you how you are calculating everything, what is the measures you are taking. Here is, for example, the equation of the time. Here is the declination of the sun. Like there is many things that we need to take into account in order to calculate the time, because this prayer time will change depending on the sun, of course, but it will change since the sun will change between the summer and of course the winter. Like the sunset will be much, much earlier, for example, than the summer. Okay, so this date aspect is also included in the calculation of the time. So you can see it is a lot of things going on here, lot of math going on here, how we calculate the Asr, the Maghrib, the midnight, the Fajr and the Isha. Like you can see many things. And here we have some conventions. For example, Fajr angle here at the Muslim World League, it is 18. Other people think it is 15. Other people think it is 16. And all of these are valid points. Like this will imply changes in minute, but we need to be aware because some people will ask you when you calculate the prayer time, what convention you are using. And even sometimes there are custom ones. For example, if you are in Alaska, for example, there is specific Fajr angle we need to provide in order to get the prayer times. So all of this, all of what I'm talking about is actually presented in the code, okay? So if you can take the time to understand, at least understand, like this is a domain problem we are solving, right? So at least understanding what are the prayer times, how we are going to do them, like different parameters, the different things here, the different conventions, right? There is problem of higher latitudes, for example. If you are in higher latitude, it means you are viewing the sun in a different way than the lower latitudes, for example. Like this, all of this imply change in the implementation and also change in the actual prayer times. So this is the code. I will put the link in the description below, right? So try to check that and also copy the code and put it in IntelliJ. In the next video, you are going to see some resources. Like the first step, you are going to see some resources you can use in order to enrich your knowledge about refactoring, legacy code, or other stuff. And then you are going to start the actual refactoring. We are going to copy the project into IntelliJ and start with the first step, which is creating tests. So see you there. Salam alaikum.